Hello, my name is Junaid, and I am a solution architect here at Shamrock Solutions, and I am here to demo the Approval app. So first off, what is the Approval app? The Approval app is a web application for an accounts payable solution and is used as an electronic invoice approval system that streamlines the invoice approval process. If the business process calls for it, approvers can also do GL coding in the app, which I will demonstrate later. So let's log in now and see what it is capable of. This is the screen that we're greeted with when you log in, and I just have to click this. So this is the approval app and the main screen that users will be greeted with. So let me start by explaining the different sections that you see here. On the left side, we have an overview of current items and past items. The user can see items that they have pending, items that they have approved, and items that they have rejected. In the middle, we have our invoices for whichever view we selected, in this case for the pending view. Then on the right, you can find history of an item and document details if you click on the item. Alright, so let's go ahead and see how I would approve an invoice. If I hover over an invoice, you can see the approve and reject buttons show up. I'll demonstrate those in a little bit. You can also see immediate details of an invoice. You can see vendor names, you can see the invoice number, invoice date, total amount, along with a few other details of the invoice. If I expand it out, it will show me all the line items for that invoice. It will show me the amounts and the GL coding that is tied to it. On the right side, in the document details section, you can see an image, a little tiny thumbnail of the invoice, along with some other document metadata. If I click on the invoice image, it will expand it out so I can see the whole image. Alright, so in this demonstration, I have my various GL related accounts for each line, so the coding has already been done. So if I was an approver, I would review the line items, ensure that they were coded correctly, and then approve or reject the invoice. In this scenario, I will approve it. So I go over here, click the approve button. A pop-up comes up confirming that I want to approve it. So I can select the reason and just type something in the comment. This isn't necessary, just in this demonstration it shows you the capabilities. So then you hit OK. And then you will see that my approved number count right here increased by 1. So if I go over here, you can see the invoice that I just approved is in my approved section right now, and then it's considered approved. Alright, so now I want to reject an invoice. So similar to approving, you can just hover over the invoice. You can, after reviewing the line items, if the user needs to, they can hit the reject button and a similar screen pops up asking you the reason and enter a comment. So there's predefined reasons that we can show a user. So in this case, I'll just do return to coder, and I don't have to enter a comment. I'm actually going to process this invoice a little further, so I won't reject it, but the concept is the same. If I hit OK, it would go to my rejected section right here, and I could review it further if needed, but at that point it's considered rejected by me. So I mentioned earlier that an approver can also code line items if the business process requires that. So expanding out my invoice to show the invoice lines, I can select this pencil icon to edit the lines. So then you can see that a few new icons appear. So there's like a delete icon, copy, cut, paste, and a few other options that the user will be presented with here. So let's say I want to add a line. I would hit this add line button. You can see it adds a new line, and then I can begin coding. So I'm going to begin coding this. And as you'll see here, that it also does a lookup on the GL account for whatever I'm typing. So I'm just entering some random information. It can also do a lookup on the name, not necessarily the number. Oops. Okay. So I'm also going to add $10 to this, just to show you the functionality. So I added that, and then it puts the invoice out of balance. So I added that $10, and since the invoice total amount doesn't match the line amounts, it tells you the remaining balance that needs to be distributed out. So this one, it does mark it as an error with a red X. I can click this and it'll tell you why if the user's not sure. So it's a nice little validation that does that. So I will go ahead and remove this line just to put it back in balance. Alright. And then there's a save icon, and I can save my changes. Saved it, and then I can go ahead and cancel out so I don't see those options anymore. One final functionality I will show you is the history details I mentioned earlier. So I'll go to my approved invoices, which brings up the list of my previously approved ones. I'll click this one. I'm in my history tab, and it shows you a list of all actions taken on this invoice in the past. So it will show you who took that action, what action they took, and when they took that action. So you can also see comments as well and the reasoning. So it gives quick information about who's doing what on an invoice and keeps track of those actions. This app can also be accessed from a mobile device from a browser. So whether it's iOS or Android or a tablet, you can access it via your browser URL and you'll have the same functionality. You can look at the invoice image, you can geocode, and whatever I showed you before. As for example, if you need the head of your department to immediately approve something and they are traveling, they could log in via their phone and approve or reject the invoice. Similar to the PC version, the mobile version also has an easy to access and intuitive design. So that about concludes the demonstration of the approval app. Thank you for watching, and we hope you use the Shamrock team for your future business solution needs.